Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, I'm almost on time. That's good afternoon. And of course I didn't mute myself. Love it. Hold on, let me mute that tab. One of these days, guys. What are we on, like 4 weeks now of me going live over here? One of these days we'll get it. Hi, Amber. How are you? Yes, so yeah, Crafton and Aiden are doing good. Aiden's home. We had to go to a guitar center for him. He's doing guitar lessons, which is good because he's got a couple of them. He just never quite got into it. So we had to get strings and then got home and Crafton's still sleeping. We were up pretty late last night on the Tyree Nickel case, and then he runs a Facebook group, which of course was blowing up. So it was a late night, so understandably he's still sleeping. Hello, excuse me, how are you? Care D, Voices, how you been? My cat is going nuts too, by the way. So this will just be a like typical ass live stream where I'm having to debate my pets the whole entire time. They're fighting back there if you can hear them. So we're talking about Jaclyn Hill's bankruptcy today. So Morphe's bankruptcy hit. Do have some corrections, by the way. Let me see if I can pull it. If not, I'll just share screen. Is my Twitter up? Let me run to my Twitter. Twitter's come in really handy on this. Apparently in the beauty community, Twitter's like a thing. It's like amazing seeing people using Twitter for what it's supposed to be there for, you know? Let me see. Get those down. So last show, somebody recommended Dustin Diamond's channel to me. And thank you so much, whoever did that. Endless source of information, super helpful. So Jacklyn's Chapter 11 actually had already come out by the time I did my show. That's how little I'm kind of into beauty community stuff. So that was great because that enabled me to go look at her bankruptcy, which validated that Morphe does have prominent shareholder rights to Jacklyn Cosmetics. So it's not a shock that within a couple weeks of Morphe filing bankruptcy, so did Jacklyn Hill on Jacklyn Cosmetics and Jacklyn Hill Cosmetics LLC, which was her original company that she filed for rights on in 2013. Now she had personal things and she got divorced, okay? Before Jacklyn Hill Cosmetics launched. This is going to matter because, again, today, it's actually been a fun week for me. Okay, I hear it's going crazy over in Chromosphere, and I've heard enough to understand why. But I have been looking at this has been controversy forever. There have been so many drama beauty creators that have since the jump thought that she did not own this company, and they had reasons why they believed that stemmed back to just collabs that they had done and some shady things that had happened there around restickering and repackaging products that she was launching with Morphe, and then of course when LipStickGate hit, that we discussed last week, and that again I have pulled all my stuff out for. The whole repackaging element came about again because by the time she's launching her first product, now it's Jacklyn Cosmetics, not Jacklyn Hill, because she had gotten divorced. Okay, now her lipsticks came out, and for those that don't know, that is what our background is there. But let me throw an overlay up. So Raw Beauty Christy, shout out, Seattle girl. I've watched her a long time. She tends to stay out of the drama though, which is why, there's a couple creators that I've watched for a long time, but she did a pretty infamous video where she busted out a microscope and showed what happened, what she was seeing with her lipsticks. And so when you hear LipStickGate over here in Cromwell, what it's referring to is that she had lipsticks that she put out. It was her first launch. It was her, quote unquote, her company. Jaclyn Hill has millions upon millions upon millions of followers. And she did back then. She's one of the OG beauty influencers. Lots of people were lining up to support her endeavor, her company. I was one of them. So I did have issues with my lipsticks. I also, so last week, I was just at Ulta and picked up Jaclyn stuff. And because it was in the package, I assumed that it was it. It wasn't. It's actually one of her lipsticks that, because my first two were so nasty, I didn't even like bother with. I just left it in the package. So there's one of my corrections. So here, let me get that off screen. I look a hot train wreck, you guys, because I got Aiden home and did a shower. Hold on one second. Let me figure this. If you can hear my pets in the background, I'm so sorry. That's life. Day in the life. This is how we did find his collar. If you can hear jinglings going on back there with Ray. What happened? This is why when Crafton's sleeping, it just bothers the shit out of me. Because I'm like, I don't know what to do. If I go off screen for a second, it's because I'm getting myself on screen. How do I do it? Okay, I'll bring it up later. We'll just do all the product stuff later. When I figure out how to get my ass on, like turn my camera on, turn my camera off. I should have figured that out. And then let me pull up, because so I was ecstatic, you guys, not because I'm so happy that somebody's got a business that's in bankruptcy, but because it enabled me to cross-reference. And so I am looking, and there's been all kinds of back and forth with the beauty commentators, you know, drama community, whatever you want to call it. She calls it her haters. But I'm like, there's just so many things that ended up being correct. So on her bankruptcy, you're able to go through and look through her debtors and things like that. Well, in the middle of that is what is called her holding company. Morphe refers to this as parent companies. Now, by the way, with all the things they filed bankruptcy on, they had partnerships with a lot. The one that I'm really sad about actually is Lipstick Queen, if anybody's used their lipsticks. I love them. They have several that will go darker, lighter. It kind of adjusts to your body temperature. And it was really innovative and cool. And I really loved their lipsticks. So I was sad to realize that they were under the umbrella of Morphe. But none of them were in their bankruptcy as a parent company, as Morphe being their parent company, except for Jacklyn Hill Cosmetics. Okay. In hers, they're listed differently, but nevertheless, what it showed is that they at least have over 50% of her business. And so we're going to pull up those receipts too. So it was really this sort of vindication, I guess, for these beauty influencers that have really taken a hit. My email. I did a playlist of LipStickGate stuff, and thank you to everybody who made suggestions about other things that can be put in there, because it actually, and it ended up representing a really good cross-section of sort of drama, if you will, drama creators that, I don't know, maybe it's because of where we come from. I'm like, well, they're doing it right. It's like, you know, they'll talk about the issue and they might throw a little shade, but nowhere in there is like, I'm going to call your sponsors and I'm going to, you know, you're a P word and da-da-da. And I wish Crafton was here, because Crafton was forced to listen to all this beauty community stuff this week. It was just unrelentless that I'm listening to, you know, thankfully, the Tyree Nichols case is getting the attention that it always deserved since this happened on the 7th. But so I was glad actually to have heard all his. But he, poor thing, is forced to listen to Rich Lux over and over because he's a character and it was interesting. I went back years. So the stream of relevant videos was never ending. And it was hard not to get lost in all of these scandals of hers, where, of course, each step of the way, she is denying any issue. And here we are. And 3 years later, 4 years on some of them, they were correct. So I know that they have to be, the coverage that's happening now is well earned because she's really said some nasty, nasty shit about some of these people. There's a channel called T-Spill. I think most of them at this point are very well represented in that playlist. So just putting it out there, even like I said, for like Krama stuff, he got real into it. He could probably sit here and talk with me, but he would interrupt when we have, Rich Lux going off about stuff in his very, entertaining way. And he would then interrupt with a granny's watching impression, or, as if to make these creators start throwing down as if they're part of our community. And it drew a contrast for sure, because I actually feel like they're far more professional about it over there. And so it was kind of refreshing. It was a nice week for me. Let me see. Oh, I might just have to go into my email here rather than try to save all of this. And then you guys are going to see my horrendous inbox. Let me get some of these downloaded. I'm so behind. Twitter one. Someone asked earlier in chat, I think Audrey, it was you, about the Cozy brand scandal. Yes. So the most recent Jaclyn Hill issue was a newer company, her latest, although she did just have a launch on her jewelry line for Valentine's Day, but her Cozy brand was the one that there was a smaller creator, and with Jaclyn's following, everybody's a smaller creator, by the way, who has long used the Cozy name. It's Koze. And so she started hers, claims she didn't really know and really has actually never addressed it, but this other creator had not copyrighted it. Okay. She probably would have had some legal standing. I mean, that's pretty universally agreed upon out there, except for that costs money. So that's where kind of the shadiness of it came in. So in the end, Michaela Nicholson had to shut down. I mean, she shut down her business because now all her merchandising that she's done for years looks like it's just like a promo of Jaclyn Hill's brand. And FYI, Jaclyn launched this, has not restocked out of stocked products. It's like a one and done sort of situation where now this poor woman has lost years of branding so that Jaclyn Hill could come in and use it as one of her quick cash grabs. It's a sad thing. So yes, that was a big one, and that was the most recent one. And it's kind of unrelated. Her companies are set up separate. That's the other thing. It's part of why people structure their companies the way they are. This is what makes this a little bit different. There was a lot of sensationalism with Morphe, but with Jaclyn, because she has stakes in so many, she has these little companies. She's got her Jaclyn Roxanne. She's got Cozy. She's got, Jacklyn Hill Cosmetics that never even ended up launching a fucking thing is still around. In fact, there's still money owed, and I've solved that mystery through her bankruptcy. She also has to list money owed to her, and it answered some questions on the Morphe front. She is owed just over $2 million. That's from an unfulfilled collaboration, and it's from people using her discount code. $2 million from people being like Jack Attack when they order their, brushes and things. And it's interesting because there's a new scandal that came up, right? And it's another thing that just made Crafton laugh his ass off, where a TikTok creator essentially took a deal with L'Oreal for a new mascara. This just happened this week. And is like, oh my God, it's so lovely. It's so wonderful. She sounds like Dorothy, okay? So it's so wonderful. It's so great. And then she cuts, and TikTok's a little different and it has to stay short and all that. So it's not unusual that they have like edit cuts. But here comes her cutting back to after putting on, a couple coats, I'm putting that in air quotes, guys. Clearly she's wearing falsies. I mean, it's plain as day. Her followers are saying, wait, you didn't go throw on some falsies? And she's like, no, didn't do it, So it's quote unquote mascara gates, right? Mascara gate. Isn't that gross? The furry lipsticks. Sorry, here I come back. Yes, excuse me. Isn't it crazy? So Crafton's like, oh my God, it's like mascara stuff. It's like, especially, with what we're watching, people like Noodle Mash and go through. I mean, people are calling, people P words, and it's just so gross over here that it's like, it's a little refreshing, honestly. But it does bring up a good question. So her name is Michaela, you guys. So it's like, this is something that has been around Jaclyn's neck for a long time. She used to just shill the shit out of Morphe brushes. That's how they started, was just with brushes. And these brushes were low cost, but they also weren't great quality. I have owned Morphe brushes, and things would fall out. I mean, they weren't very tightly packed. They weren't the greatest, depending on what you were using them for anyway. And so it was just very bizarre that so many, but they had a killer payout for influencers through their discount codes. So there was, it was huge, you guys. I mean, anybody who's been around my age and watched Jacklyn Hill, watched Manny, watched anybody who had, an affiliate code with Morphe knows that for a long time, everyone was singing the praises of Morphe brushes, and I never got it. It was just not my jam. I had bad experiences with their brushes. But finding out that all that money is owed, I mean, when was their last? So from, they still owed her money on a brand collab. I cannot recall. And if somebody can, let me know. When was the last thing she did with Morphe? Like as a collab? I really am stumped. I feel like it might have been the brush collection. But it's been a little while since there was a straight up collab. Now, again, that's putting aside that at this point we know they are the major owner of her cosmetics company. Let me get these loaded. I want to show you guys some twits as they have been shaking out. And I'm sure many have seen this, some of these. I'm going to put them in overlay. Hopefully I have enough space. Me and Crafton right now are sharing. And I know last night he's like, the fuck? Can I delete these fucking lipsticks? And I'm like, no, you can do it after tomorrow. Here, let me throw this one up. It's a little cozy brand. And her cozy line, you guys, it was like, so I don't know if anyone else here is like a sub box person or whatever, but I looked through like the materials that the blankets, and it's supposed to be this like luxury thing. And I'm like, a lot of the ways that her blankets and her socks and all this sold out shit was made kind of mirrored Barefoot Dreams, if anyone's heard of that. And then they show up in sub boxes sometimes and things like that. But and it's very comfy, but it's not innovative. It's not new. You know what I mean? So it's very sad. It's sad for the other creator. So her bankruptcy is specific to her makeup company. I wanted to point that out because I do know that that's the freshest of the talk here. Yeah, and there I ran out. Okay, so let me run through these and then we'll discuss. Let me see if can I make this shit any bigger? So this is where she has been called out. So this is why people have an issue with Jaclyn Hill. Filing bankruptcy, having Morphe own most of her company, that's not in itself a big deal. That's not unusual, you guys. She's only recently started talking about having investors. She started out in the playlist. You'll see I do have some of her own content. And one of them is called, one of them's her like debut of her lipsticks. She's in like a white, black, polka dotted thing holding her little lipstick collection. That's the one where if you go in, you hear her. She's never done anything but talk about this being her company. Well, this is just in 2021. Now, by here, she's talking about the fact that she has investors, but as soon as she has somebody saying, why is she only listed as the founder and not the founder and CEO? They're talking about Jacklyn Cosmetics. And then right underneath, you'll see she's like, I am the CEO as well. They just labeled me as a founder, which is fine. And so all the way up to 2021, she was still like, she's still leaving that impression. This is what makes her shady as shit. So here we go in 2022. She doesn't own this business, but nice try. So here she is directly from her Twitter. All this is from her Twitter. I am the owner, founder, and CEO. But then you cut to January 12th of this year, and she's not. And we all we all talked last week. We had our whoa moments. And no, her own documents she's now had to disclose. She did not even bother to address it, you guys. Instead, she deleted her Twitter, or she went off Twitter, deleted her Twitter for a whopping 4 days or some shit. It was not long at all. And that was that, So absolute vindication for these creators that have been talking about this for years and years. Legal paperwork just doesn't lie. But as you see from these tweets, she has over and over and over. Let me get a couple more loaded. I have to now delete the ones I just showed you so that I can load up the next ones. Leave that there. It's just the legal definition for you. Let me find my other. I have a screenshot of her that I took when I was reading through her bankruptcy stuff. Bankruptcies are not fun to read either, by the way. But when you look at the people she owes people on a far less scale, obviously, than Morphe. That's not a shock. But it's like she also doesn't have all these, she didn't have collaborations with Jacklyn Cosmetics like Morphe did with people like herself, like with other influencers. But again, they are listed as the parent company in their own bankruptcy and then listed as benefactor in hers. This is why people don't like Jaclyn Hill. That's the one I wanted to show you guys. This is the last one she did before she threw her tantrum and left. Okay. So she's already back. Her Twitter is visible again. But she did throw a little mini fit and she's like, goodbye, Twitter. And she's leaving. But she's being called out. She's being called out because you file for bankruptcy. It becomes it is a searchable record on a business for sure. And so these things are getting validated left and right. And there's just no lying anymore. She has this massive history of lying going back. So the official video that is in that playlist, you guys, that was 2017. But she first filed her first LLC as Jacklyn Hill Cosmetics back in 2013. And all along the way, she's never wavered on her story that she is the owner. It is her company. And yet we see Jacklyn Hill Cosmetics on Morphe's bankruptcy. It's just not true. This is sort of how she does business, you guys. I wish that all, so this is what she had to say. This was on January 13th. This is the day after she filed. Oh, we have a squirrel, you guys. Shit, I can't cut to squirrel cam either. They're so stinking cute. These little baby squirrels are now like juvenile squirrels, and they are very energetic. And as you can hear, Kenny loves it. I just have to disclose all the time. It's like, no, my pets are going to interrupt us, because they will. So here's what she had to say as she's getting called out for getting caught in a lie. I wish that people who sit on their phones and judge everyone online had 8 million followers watching their every move. You guys are so quick to judge, but once you experience being judged, it's a whole different story. I would love to have that conversation with you. Bitch, like, really? Poor thing, right? I wish you all had 8 million followers who are just going to watch your every move. It's like, well, what? Isn't that the definition of a successful? I don't know. Right? It's just weird, right? And it's just like, oh, boo-hoo, right, Tiffany? It's just like, oh, poor you with your 8 million, followers. But you've been lying to them over and over and over. Oh my God, he's not going to stop, you guys. Be nice to the squirrel. That does not look like a familiar one either. He's got dark fur. He's so cute, you guys. Okay. Sorry, my ADD. I'm like, oh, look, a squirrel. Kenneth. Unless you have something to say about Jaclyn Hill's bankruptcy. So this is taken from the frequently asked questions section, because her website's still up. So she's filed the chat, but it's chapter 11, you guys. So it's reorganization, just like Morphe's is reorganization. So it doesn't mean she's going out of business. It just means here we are again, right? Let me grab this so that I can read it for you. So so this is the same time that she's having this fucking fit on Twitter, right? And then looking, I'm like, okay, so Jacklyn Cosmetics is still up. I looked at, so it's like, okay, so here's what's still going. Jacklyn Cosmetics still up. All right, so they're in chapter 11, still up. Cozy's still up, but they have not replenished any of their stock. Zero, none, nada. They're sold out of just about everything. They launched, and now it seems like they're done. Jaclyn Roxanne, which is her jewelry brand, they just did a launch literally, let's see, 26th, the day before yesterday. But this is the FAQ section of Jacklyn Cosmetics, and here's what they have to say. So one of the frequently asked questions says, how does the Forma brand, which is Morphe, announcement about a change in ownership through a court supervised process impact Jacklyn Cosmetics? First of all, how manipulative is that wording? They filed chapter 11 bankruptcy. It's a reorg. How does their announcement about a change in ownership through a court supervised process? I mean, it means that the bankruptcy is putting the bankruptcy as owner. That's not an ownership change. That means you're in reorganization. It means you're being supervised. It means no financial decisions can be made. Nothing can be paid. Nothing. All of it is now going to be overseen by the board of trustees for the bankruptcy court. That's not a change in ownership, Jacklyn. Okay, the same Jacklyn. So here's her answer to her own weird question. The same Jacklyn Cosmetics products consumers love, along with exciting new launches, will continue to be available online and in stores. That's Ulta, by the way, through Jacklyn Cosmetics website and our retail partners, which is Ulta. Second bullet point, the steps form a brand, our parent company. The steps Forma brands, our parent company, is taking are designed to make it an even better partner to Jacklyn Cosmetics as we continue providing consumers with inspiring beauty products. Her frequently asked questions section, second bullet, right between those two. I keep using my mouse as if you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. But there it is. There's from Westlaw. There it is. Parent company means it owns more than 50%. Means they control the company. Means she can have a ownership stake in it, but she sure doesn't own it. They own it. They're over 50%. She's admitting that here on her own website. Fun. So let me I'm going to pull up a second tab. Kenneth! Killing me, bro. Right. The new ownership. Isn't that fun, Tiffany? It's like, no, that's the board of trustees. That's like not a new, like, oh, I'm going to invest in a makeup brand. No, that's the board of trustees of the bankruptcy court that they put themselves in front of. You know what I mean? It's just, it's very manipulative wording, and that's not uncommon for her. It's just not. But I do want to poke into another tab here, and then I'm going to share my screen. Kenneth. Let me go over. Playlist. I have way too many tabs open. I'm like, I can't even find where I'm at. Screen share. There we go. So here we have the various, let me make sure I have this muted though. We don't need to see that. Let me see. Am I muted? I'm muted. Good. So this is the one I was talking about, you guys. So it's introducing Jacklyn Cosmetics. This is still up on Jaclyn Hill's site. Okay. Please, like, if you watch that, this is 3 years ago. 4.5 million people have watched it. All of that. Raw Beauty Christie's video is in there. Huge. This is the one. This is where we first learned about everything. Now, there was also speculation that she made in this video about the component of the lipstick, because it's listed as, it's got a JH on the front of it. And let me see if I can figure this out yet on getting myself on camera. I'm walking you through the dramas here, through the playlist, and I've tried to put them in order, with the exception of the one right after it is one that a viewer recommended of Justin Daly's, who Jacklyn said some pretty shitty things about, by the way. So for years, he's had to deal with her bullshit, but he called this stuff out very quickly, and he was right. And so I made sure to put him like way there up at the top. But it kind of goes through her lipsticks being tested for mold and things like that. There's only one that came back with any sort of findings of mold, and it was actually in the lipstick container itself, you guys. And it lent tons of credibility to what Raw Beauty Christie had said back in when these all came out, right? So it was 2019 before it was 2019 before she launched these lip. It took fucking forever. But in 2017, she had been caught. God damn, I wish I'd have taken the screenshot, you guys. I will post it on a community tab and follow up to this. Somebody has a screenshot, and I think it was Rich Lux who got a screenshot of her vanity in 2017. She did like a tour because she redid her whole thing. And if you zoomed in, the component of the lipstick was there. So it explains exactly what Raw Beauty Christie had thought, which is that in the end, she either put out old lipstick that'd been sitting on the shelf for forever, or it's possible that she removed the product but kept using the Jaclyn Hill lipsticks themselves, just the tube, you know, so refilling the tube, and that would account for some sort of material that got left behind. Anyway, this is over in my playlist sections, you guys, and it just runs the whole gamut. This is Rich Lux, by the way. This is one of his recent videos. And if you just if you've never seen him, sorry to get stuck watching ads too, but as soon as I can skip them, I will. So this is Rich Lux with the crown, and he's amazing. He's fun. But it's also just fun, you guys. It's a night, if you're not part of that community, just so you know, it was nice. It was nice to get out of the drama of this community and sort of throw myself and immerse myself. And so many people were very, very helpful in answering questions that I tried to kind of put it all together, because I didn't have a full understanding, because I'm just not part of that community. I was a Jaclyn Hill, like I watched her tutorials like back in the day, you know what I mean? And it's a crappy feeling. It's like I have continued to support her because I thought that, you know, it's like even with the lipsticks, which like I said, come to find out, I look like shit, you guys, but I'm going to figure this out on getting on camera here. So I want to show you what I figured out, because it was after the fact that I opened the thing, because I'm like, what did I buy over at Ulta? And then I'm like, no, I bought 2 of her new liquid lipsticks, and the one that I still had in the package was actually one of her shitty lipsticks that I just left in the package from back then. Let me see. If I disappear from screen, it's because I'm still just trying to figure out how to get my ass on camera. Yay, it worked. Okay. Sorry about that. I feel bad. I'm like, I have to have Crafton show me this. So I showed you guys the packaging, right? So it kept doing so the Jaclyn Hill is what she released on her lipstick. Okay. It's what she released. Now, what I had thought is, because I still had this sitting in the package, I'm like, okay, so I just recently bought something from her. And then I realized, I'm like, no. I actually bought 2 of her like her more recent lipsticks that are sold in Ulta. So that was my recent purchase. I got a second. This is actually still, I just never took it out of the package. But one of the things that was talked about is batch codes. This was one of the scandals from back when. Every single one has that batch code. You can see it. So that's that one. I have 3 of these. So I'll just do this because the colors and shit, that doesn't matter. You're going to see that I already peeled one off, right? So they all have that stupid ass like G blah, 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 batch code. So I was watching, I think Here for the Tea, their old one from then, and she was talking about the Morphe Vault palette scandal that happened. And in that, what happened is people were peeling off their because they recalled the palettes because the formula was shit. And then people were finding that underneath the re-release was the same palette. But she was saying, she's like, so if the components, right, like what if they just re-stickered the components? And I'm like, huh, interesting. So she went ahead and was like, and tried to peel them off, right? So I did the same thing. And I don't think I'm going to be able to show you. But just to make it very clear, she was right. Okay. Everything that was underneath, I might be able to get it to show. If you peel off the sticker, which has a different, area of manufacture, you get it here, and it matches Morphe. Okay, so let me read. I hate being old and not being able to read this shit. Anyway, it's foreign. It was produced out of America, which is exactly what she says never happened, But then I went and I looked, because I don't have the Morphe palette, but I have her original one. And it's just right there. It's called PNR Consultancy, and it's a UK company. But there it is there. And the batch codes, this stupid ass batch code. You see how you've got, starts with a letter, or ends with the, So they have these now batch codes are different everywhere, but the one that showed up on these lipsticks is this GC06A, which is a really weird one. And if you're just a nerd or you get into this as much as I did this past week, if you start going around and looking, oh, look at this, still has even the, oh, that's interesting. Anyway, I'll have to look through that because I still have the paperwork in that one, actually. So this is the kind of shit they had to do, though. Back then, people were catching this because this is what they do in the beauty world. But people felt very strongly about it, and they would do their videos, and they'd show all the receipts on this. The Jacklyn, so, and I want to say it was Here for the Tea, and I'm going to find out for sure, and then I'll cite it in the bottom of the description of this video. So that they cited the reason why they thought that, but they also said why they think that it further delayed the release of the lipsticks. They think that the lipsticks were ready to go in 2017. And some of the reason that they had all these issues, and I'm going to see if I can find the one, because I did show you guys, but I'm going to show it here too for the people that didn't see last time. Keeping in mind now they're super duper old, but one of mine came with this just like, I did have one that both of mine that I had opened all the way had hairs and holes, but one of them had really bad separation. That one. Let's see if I can get it to show. You probably can see it. The oils separate. Well, it turns out that there's mango butter in it, which only has a shelf. There is no open, once you open it, it does X, Y, and Z. It goes bad in a year. It only has a shelf life of a year. There was a delay in her launching the lipsticks in the first place. And then from there, her Vault collection with her collab with Morphe came out. And when that came out, it was this whole big scandal because, like I said, it was not the same formula. It was animal tested. There were all these things that she had made pretty distinct promises about that didn't end up being the case. And so they actually pulled those from the shelves, purported to relaunch, and then people are able to pull back. They're finding stickers where these were just relabeled and put back on Ulta shelves. And there you go. That's not a great place to be if you're getting ready to launch something, because her name's attached to that too. So the theory was that she probably waited another 6 months. She didn't release these until May or June, maybe, of 2019. So they left a little bit of time in between. So that's kind of where it's at too. And so it's just one of those things where I'm like, if you're interested, that playlist is there. I have it now going clear to the more recent stuff where some of these creators really got to have their redemption moment, which is awesome. I think many of us have experienced some of that, where it's like you get called a liar and all this other stuff. And then eventually the truth finds its way and you get to be like, So that's about, I was going to look too. See, I'm so freaking blind. I don't know. These are her highlighters. Actually, I wonder if, so these are two, I have two separate shades. I wonder if she did the same shit. No. So she learned her lesson. So the batch codes, right? If they're two different colors, inherently they should have different batch codes. So again, I showed the lipsticks and how they didn't. So this is her highlighter in Balm. So if they're different colors, they definitely got made in different batches, right? They'd have to, or they'd all be the same color. So here we got JP A4 9A, and that's for the color Balm, right? So she's figured this out. For everybody being so wrong about her, she sure had to heed their warnings. And then what color is this? This is Amped. You'll see rather than the 9, it's the 5. So she figured it out. I mean, she adjusted. Apparently they're going to keep doing product launches. And Ulta, I guess last summer, I think it was last summer. I didn't buy anything from it. But last summer she had released like a strawberry collection kind of thing. So she's still releasing the shit. So that's where it's at right now. I did not get a chance to, I know there's documents I wanted to have to show you that I didn't screenshot. And then we were up so late last night on the Tyree Nickel case. But keep your eye too. We're going to move on from this. And of course, if there's updates or anything like that, then I'll do that. But we're going back. So next month, we're slated to do, I'm going to do the Rest case. So both Alec Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez Reed's charges on the Rust movie set. And then I'm also doing Woodstock 99 and the lawsuits that arose from there. Have I looked into her corporate filing? Yeah, isn't it crazy? I mean, it's shady. She's very shady. And so it's like, I can say this, my two little lipstick, my little lippies that I have bought from Ulta, that's like it for me. I'm done. Done. And that's part of it too. I feel really, and I don't know, I can only imagine that her subs are, have felt the same way over the years. But a lot of us bought in to this sort of starting up of her new brand and wanted to be supportive. And then everyone loves a comeback story. We all wanted to believe that things were going to go different. But the whole time, you guys, Morphe had dominant shares. They are the parent company. They make these decisions. She doesn't even have that much say. So now if you see the thumbnail, by the way, the thumbnail for this video is her and Linda, who's one of the, her and her husband co-owners of Morphe. Very tight, nepotism. People think that's just about family. It's not. It can also be like close friendships. And it's just about interfering with a business relationship because of a personal relationship. And I think that's also been talked about, and now it's more than clear. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Rust one. I've been reading up a lot on that. And I mean, I can't lie. I have a feeling like digging back into like beauty stuff, I've gotten a little sucked in. And then Mascaragate hit, and now I'm invested. Jeffree Star said he's coming back. There's been some great little nuggets. And so I have a feeling it's nice. It's nice to divide my time. And remember that, YouTube's fun. So I have all my stuff dug out. You guys can see I hopped in the shower right before. I still have to do my makeup and stuff. But this has been a lot of fun. And so I'm looking forward to it. The lawsuits coming out of Woodstock 99. I'm looking forward to that. I'm probably going to do a poll to see which one I do first. I'll let viewers kind of chime in on that. But that's also been very interesting. I used to do music PR. I did work with Fred Durst. I used to call him Robert Durst all the time because I was super into the Robert Durst case too. So Fred Durst I worked with. I did crisis PR. So you guys can do the math on that. When people had issues, they would hire my company. So they were so negligent on that set. I think the Rust one's going to be super fun to dig into from a legal standpoint, right? What happened was tragic. And there was tons of negligence. But it's interesting to play, there's a lot of vested parties. That's what I'm looking forward to talking about. There's a lot of vested parties because holding an actor accountable, something to be said. It's playing into the political atmosphere right now too, obviously. Because Alec Baldwin's outspoken. I mean, look at what he did on Saturday Night Live. Of course, he's got enemies as well. So there's political factors that are in play. But that's what's going to be coming up. I hope that this was a nice break for some of us in the drama sphere. So thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll see you soon. I know we're going to be on this weekend. Okay, you guys, today is officially 30 days since I got married, and we still have not opened all of our presents. We literally have boxes in the hallway, and it's just been craziness. So I know we're doing that. We're still scheduling with Santa and Xanadu because she wanted to do a bachelorette party and stuff. Obviously, that didn't end up being possible because as soon as me and Crafton were able to, we're we've waited long enough. We're doing this shit. You know what I mean? So, but we're going to do the newlywed game with her, which we're totally looking forward to because we haven't gotten to see everybody as much now that we're just kind of on Patreon with the Daily Show. And then I'm only here usually once a week in any sort of scheduled way. So there's things coming up. You can just keep an eye on the community tab, but I appreciate you guys indulging me in my little sideways venture outside of the chromosphere to look into something a little bit more fun. So love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon.